Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. There's a lot of ways to grow onions. When you buy them in a bag and they're little bulbs of onions, these are called onion sets, and I've already done videos on how to plant them. You can also buy them as bunches. Don't confuse them with bunching onions. This is just called an onion bunch. And these are first year plants. Somebody planted them, they get to the size, they pull them out of the ground. I like growing them this way because these plants still think that they're first year plants, which means they're going to create a beautiful onion bulb for you. Sometimes, if the onions think they're on their second year, they create a flower stalk. When you buy these, very often the roots are all dried out. You do want to get these into shape before you put them into the ground. If you put them in like this, they're probably going to survive. They're going to root out. Definitely, if you put them in with dry roots, you want to water this every day. The roots are only going to be in that top half inch of the soil, so you have to keep it moist. What I like to do, take these inside. I'll show you how I put them in a dish of water, and you're going to wait for brand new, beautiful white roots to come out, and then that's when you're going to get them out into your soil. Again, you're not really worried about the green growth. In fact, we could trim off some of this. You just want the roots to start to form, and just make sure all the onions are pretty much level, like that one's a little bit high up, and just set them into a shallow tray of water, upright like that. You want to just double check, make sure all the onions are touching the water. You don't necessarily have to change the water every day. Make sure there's enough in there that it's contacting just right where the roots meet the onion. You'll have to add the water when needed. Check at day 3, day 5, day 7 at the most. You're looking for white roots to come out. When there's a good bunch, they're ready to go back out into the garden. It's been 5 days. The roots are forming. You may notice the paper towel. You can just, let me show you. I'll open it up, and you can just drop the bunch of onions onto the paper towel. This helps keep them moist so that the roots grow, and sometimes the bunch falls over. And then just wrap the paper towel around there, and that keeps everything nice and moist. I checked at 3 days. The roots were starting to grow. Here we are at day 5, and you can see nice new white roots coming out all over the place. You could probably go 2 more days. If you're going in, really past 5 days, take these out, rinse them with some cold water, change the water, but there's plenty of beautiful white roots in here, and these are ready to go out into the garden. So let's get to planting. One more thing before we take these outside. You can trim off some of the greenery. All we're interested in is letting the roots establish, the bulbs get established, there'll be all new green growth. Cutting back some of the greenery can help the onion get set up because it doesn't have to worry about supporting all this greenery up here. So I would just go through, I'm going to do that, cut it right down the middle like this, and then we'll go plant. So we're going to plant into a 100-gallon fabric pot that I sell at my seed shop. Just pretend this is the ground or a very large container. These are the onions that I brought outside. It's really important, it's sunny today, that you do cover the roots with the paper towel, dampen it. Because even if these sit here 15 or 20 minutes in full sun, it could damage the roots as they dry out. And if you're like me, I'll look around, I'll see something, I'll get distracted, and I won't get back to these for like an hour. The onions look great. Just for a close-up, those are the roots. You want some nice, white, longer onion roots. And then again, keep these covered. What you're going to do is take your space, could be the earth, could be a larger container. I'm using any organic dry granular fertilizer. This happens to be a 533 NPK, and I'm going to just scatter it probably about 2 handfuls nicely across the top. If you have compost, 1 or 2 inches of compost across here, and then you just want to loosen wherever you're going to be planting the onions to a good 4 inches deep. Mix everything through. This is all going to get watered in with a water-soluble fertilizer. You want the soil to be nice and loose. Will help the onion itself develop. And then we're just going to smooth everything out. We've got our basic organic granular in here, or you've put in some compost. And this space is ready for planting. You're going to want to put the onions down about 1 inch to 1.5 inches deep. Sometimes I don't go too deep. The onion just has to have the root system in, and the bulb is going to form right on the surface of the ground. So I like going every 2 to 3 inches, about 1 inch deep, and we're just going to drop the onions in to here. And I like to set up these basic finger holes first. This way I can just go through and real quickly drop the onions in. We'll just do a couple of rows right there. If you're doing long rows, it's good to put about 8 to 12 inches in between. Let the sun fall in here. But I'm going to just plant this up as just one big sort of rectangle, 2 to 3 inches between, and that will work out just fine. So you want to go in, grab some of your onions. That should be plenty. Again, cover up the extras in case you get distracted like I do. And you're just dropping these in just like that. Again, they've got these beautiful roots started that you started inside the house for 3 to 7 days. Notice I cut them back. All the new green growth will come out just fine. If they don't seem quite deep enough, just make the hole a little bit deeper. You might find birds or rabbits or some animal comes in and knocks these out. You can just come back and tuck them back in. They're really, really resilient. I like to straighten them up and just pinch the soil in. Don't worry if they're sitting on an angle, they'll straighten up. They know what to do. And that's a row of onions, technically. I would just do a long row this way if I was doing it in the ground, 8 to 12 inches in between. But in a space like this, I just keep things closer. Let's do another row. You don't have to be exact with the spacing. You know, I'm not going to wait for all these to develop to one big size and then pull them all out and then eat them. I'm going to be eating these through the season. So if you plant them closer together and then as they're developing you harvest every other one, you can end up giving these plenty of space for the ones that are left to get to the full size onion that you want. And in between you get to harvest some smaller onions, you know, over the season. I mean, I have so much growing that I want to be able to enjoy these throughout the year. I'm just not waiting to have like 200 onions picked and drying and curing and all that. I want to eat them. That's 35 onions in this small space. Now that we pinched in the last couple, we're going to come back, water this in with a water-soluble fertilizer. That will supply nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and P and K, in a form the onion can use right away. But what's most important right now is to remember that your onion only has a couple of roots. They're not really that big. So on a sunny day, even though, you know, we're at the end of March, it's cooler, the top inch of the soil can dry out really quick. So you want to water it in today, and you really do want to water this, just making sure that top inch is nice and moist for the next 7 days. Give time for these roots to reach out. Eventually they'll go down into the container or into your earth, and you can cut back on watering. So initially, first 7 days, every day. The second week, 7 days, 8 days to the next 14 days, maybe every other day, every 3 days. After that, they're pretty well established. You probably want to water them once or twice a week, depending on what's needed. I just want to stress early on, to really get them off to a great start, water them every day, because these roots are not very big and they're not able to access all the water that's in the container. They look pretty good. Some of these might fall over, and sometimes they even seem to work themselves out of the little hole. It doesn't matter. The roots are good established, and then just go ahead and you just press them back in. They're going to be fine. So at this point, any water-soluble fertilizer, and just give them a really nice soaking. And I can't stress it enough, because that's one of the mistakes people make, is these don't have really big root systems. So they end up, you know, sitting out on a really nice early spring day, and the soil dries out and it does damage the roots. Soak everything in through really nicely. This is the only time for the next really 4 weeks or 5 weeks that you have to fertilize these. The key is the water. Maybe in about a month, 6 weeks, when you see a lot of greenery going, you can give them some more water-soluble fertilizer. Please subscribe and follow me. I'm trying to reach 750,000 subscribers, so every little bit helps. And again, please subscribe because I'll show you how I take care of these, and I'll teach you how to grow food, have some fun, and how to plant up this entire garden. And check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. Have a great week, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.